Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sfurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
Namaste and welcome to Vijaya Patha, a Women's Day exclusive today with Dr. Panna Barai. We are delighted and honored to welcome Dr. Panna Barai back to our show. Namaste, Dr. Panna. How are you doing?
Namaste. I'm fine, Vijaya. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be back on our program. We are honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll just take a few minutes to read a little bit about your profile for our viewers. Dr. Panna Barai has been a pillar in Northwest Indiana for many years, both as a dedicated physician as well as a respected leader in the local Indian American community. Her journey as a physician began at Baroda Medical College in India, where she studied medicine and went on to train in the specialty of obstetrics and gynecology, earning her MBBS, DGO, and MD degrees. After moving to the United States, Dr. Barai continued her training in obstetrics and gynecology at Northwestern University program in Chicago. She has practiced her specialty in Northwest Indiana for 33 years, fulfilling her lifelong dream of serving the healthcare needs of women with her medical expertise, strength, and compassion. She has also served in professional leadership positions at the Methodist hospitals as the chairperson of the Quality Care Committee for the Obstetrics and Gynecology Department, chairperson of Medical Education, president of the medical staff, and a member of the board of directors. She continues to contribute her time and expertise as a member of the board of directors of the Foundation Board of the Methodist Hospitals. Bridging the gap between her professional, cultural, and social communities, Dr. Panna Barai has also served as president of the Indian Medical Association of Northwest Indiana, as well as served on the board of directors of this esteemed organization. These roles have aligned well with her work within many social, cultural, educational, religious, and community organizations, including leading in her role as president and chairperson of the Indian American Cultural Center for 7 years. Dr. Barai feels honored and humbled to have received recognition by various organizations for her service, including the coveted Lifetime Achievement Award awarded to her by the Indian Medical Association of Northwest Indiana and an award for Top 20 Women of Excellence at International Women's Day celebration. While Dr. Panna Barai's professional and cultural work are a source of immense pride for her, she considers her tight-knit family to be her greatest strength and achievement. Together with her husband, Dr. Bharat Barai, she has raised 4 children who have had the honor of living the American dream in exploring all that this country has to offer and studying and training in a wide diversity of disciplines at some of this nation's top educational institutions. Dr. Barai now also has the joy of very actively participating in the lives of her 4 children as well as 7 grandchildren who all absolutely adore their Nani and look upon her as a talented, compassionate, forward-thinking person at the workplace, community, and home. Thank you so much, Dr. Panna Barai. We are thrilled to have you here. What an introduction. We are so impressed with all your achievements. Hearty congratulations to you, and we are looking forward to discussing more on today's program.
Thank you, Vijaya.
Dr. Panna Barai, so you'll have to start off by telling us a little bit about how your upbringing was. How was it in India while growing up? Did you ever think that you would be moving to USA one day? Or did you even think that you would be a doctor one day? How was it in your childhood?
Well, I was born in Baroda, India. And as a growing up, of course, we were in very ordinary family. If I say so, until my 10th grade of education, we did not even have electricity in our home. We were studying with lanterns, kerosene lanterns, and still we achieved what we were able to achieve. But it was a very simple but very close knit family. Actually, from in my family, everybody has a very high uh, role of educating their children. That is the first thing they would want to do and never leave a chance. So from the age of 5 years, I stayed with my grandparents and my uncle and auntie because my father was in a small village. He was working there in the mill as a chief of a printing department. So he wanted to make sure that I get best education, and Vadodara is known for that with the MS University. So that's how he stayed there, and that's then I decided that I just love to stay with my grandparents, and I continued to stay even though they moved to Ahmedabad. And
That
from,
Please go ahead.
and from a very young age, my passion was that I want to serve women in any kind of form or shape that I can. Always wanted to do that. I always felt that women are at disadvantage. They are not treated right. They are not given enough support and chance to educate themselves. And that's why they always stay a little bit behind, even though I know that most of the women are very, very intelligent, just like men. So that was always at the back of my mind.
That is wonderful. Looks like you had that idea very early on about the ability of women and also about your inclination to serve women. That is wonderful to know. So please tell me, while growing up, did you have any role models or anybody that inspired you in life?
Actually, I would say my chachi or auntie, um, Mrs. Kothari, Shakuntala Kothari, she was my biggest role model. She had studied in a home science college in Ahmedabad, but her nature, her inspiration was such and very loving. She is the one who raised me partially also after she came in the house after her marriage. And I always felt that this person is really encouraging me to do anything in my life that I can do. And she always told me, you can do it, you can do it. And I believed her that yes, I can do it. And now I believe her even more that yes, any woman can do anything that is in their dream.
That's amazing. So at what point did you decide to go into medical field?
From sixth or seventh grade, from the time that I knew what medicine is or what medical college is or what the doctors are, I always wanted to go to medical school. There was no hesitation, and there was no hesitation from the family either. They were encouraging me a lot and supporting me a lot. But from the 10th grade onwards, I always felt that if I become a doctor, I want to become gynecologist. And why? Because I always wanted to serve women in for their medical needs, for their social needs. And many times all they need is just the support of a proper person to solve a lot of the problems.
That's correct. That's correct, Dr. Panna. So when did you decide to move to the United States? How did that happen? And what did you finish your college and education, medical education in India, and then work there for a little while, or did you come here for your higher education and pursue your career here later?
Most of the medical students, when they want to come to USA or go to England or go to Canada, they want to, of course, they have to finish their medical education, basic MBBS. But myself and my husband, we decided that no, we are going to do the post-graduation here and then pursue our education for the in the foreign countries, because we always feel that having a basic education, basic understanding would help us a lot. Also, if we ever go back to India for a business or to continue our business, we have something to fall back. So we were kind of in those days trying to uh, keep our future little secure also, because not knowing exactly how our future would be shaping up. But both of us had a dream of further education, and my husband was especially interested in research and all that. So we decided to come here.
That's wonderful. So having a spouse in the same field, would you say that helps, or would you say that becomes more challenging for women?
It does help to understand each other's needs, and of course, both of you have the value of higher education. That's the first thing. Sometimes it is challenging when both of us are busy leaving the family, and a number of hours that you have to put up in the your residency time or in your private practice time, or even if you are doing a full-time uh, doctoring job in the hospital. But I would say that I would not have any hesitation that I have married a doctor husband. It really helps.
That's wonderful to know, because I think a basic understanding of the environment that your spouse is working in, the kind of challenges that both of you may be facing at work, definitely helps support each other, I'm thinking. So yeah, that's good to know. So, regarding your move to the United States, I believe you completed your further education here. So, how do you think, compared to the education system in India and your experiences there when you came here, how was it? And were there any specific challenges that you faced that you'd like to share with us?
Actually, Vijaya, both places, education is very, very good. In India, we get more clinical education. We get lot of experience with the patients and all that. Here, it is more theoretical, but at the same time, if you say number of patients that you are able to treat is far less. Hands-on experience is a lot more in surgeries as well as in treatment of the patients in India than here, definitely. But then the theoretical uh, basis is here, that so you get the best out from the both sides.
Wonderful. So, when you came here and you were pursuing your further education, did you already have your children by then, or did you have your children later in life? How was the whole experience of managing your career and children?
It was
that
very enjoyable, but of course challenging. I had my first child right when I started my residency in OBGYN here. So that itself was challenging. Lots of emergency calls and to have someone to take care of a little baby was also very challenging. But I have to say and thank my family that we really, really have a very good and very strong family support. I had to take a very bold decision of sending my first daughter, Sujata, to India at the age of 3 months because it broke my heart to leave the baby alone to an unknown person, a babysitter, here when both of us are on call. Then there was nobody else to watch her. So I felt very comfortable that my parents and my Bharat's parents, they are the best babysitters in the world and they can take care of her better than what I can take care here with our work schedule. So Sujata came back at age of 2 years and she was so much loved there and she was so much taken care that there is no way I could have matched it here for
Right,
sure.
right, right. Grandparents, that bonding and that relationship
Yes,
is,
yes.
yes, yes, it's very
And even
special.
till now, children are so much bonded with the grandparents. Unbelievable.
Right. That's amazing. So I'm sure you missed having her around, but I think women or anybody who's working for that matter, we have to have that somehow find that balance, face those challenges.
Of course, I missed her a lot.
Right.
And those days, there were no cell phones, no FaceTime, nothing. So you can't see them.
Oh yeah.
Very little photography. So once in a while, we'll get the photographs. Actually, I did not see her for 2 years. My
Wow.
husband could go only once for 10 days and he saw her, but I did not see her.
You are a strong mother. I don't know how you did it, but that's amazing. Yeah, just the thought of, parting with
Yeah,
your child. Yeah, yeah.
right.
And
It was very difficult, but
right, right.
knowing that she is very sick, well taken care, that
Correct.
itself was very
Correct.
comforting to me.
Right. I mean, I think that is one dilemma that women face quite a bit because we have our strong motherly instincts. We want to do everything and be there for our child all the time, but at the same time, our career is also as important. So it's a big decision and a big challenge. So hats off to you for being able to manage that. and and
Thank
and
you.
we we will get an opportunity, our viewers will get an opportunity to meet Dr. Panna Barai's daughters in a little while, so that'll be wonderful to hear from them as well. Coming back to the topic of, your move to the United States and you pursued your education here. But at that time, I believe it was 1970s, sometime in 1970s that you moved. How different was the United States then? And did you face any specific challenges being an Indian here? And also on top of that, being a woman who was trying to, get education, get settled down here and raise a family.
Vijaya, it was very different. Uh, in 1971, when we moved here, people did not know much about India. So they would always look at you with some questions. There was no idea about vegetarianism. So if we asked for vegetarian food, people would look at us or laugh at us. And of course, you are missing your family and your country. So that is on the top of it. So first
Right.
few years were very, very sad for both of us. But we survived, and after a few years, you get settled, and the times have changed big time. Now, India is at the top, and everyone knows what India is.
Right. So how about after Sujata came back? I mean, you had more children, and so that was a different ball game again for you, Dr. Panna Barai. So,
Of course, each time it is a different ball game.
yes,
Uh, I was lucky that my mother or my mother-in-law, one of them, were always there to help with little kids at home. Of course, I had always helped and managed it, but still, when there is a time, children need mother, no
correct,
matter what.
correct,
So to keep up with those times and all that uh, is very challenging, but it is doable. So there is no reason for any woman to get disappointed or discouraged. I must say that. But I always jiggle the time that when they are in school, I worked on routine basis. But with my type of speciality, there was always a challenge of going for the deliveries and leaving them from your hand, just practically throwing them to somebody else and run for the deliveries. But then, they also partly enjoy because when I come home, the first thing, oh, mom, boy or a girl? How much baby weighed? Was baby beautiful? So they also enjoy. Say they do not think same way that you are thinking that, oh my God, I had to leave the baby at home alone. No,
right.
children also take encouragement from them.
Right, right. Well, it is actually a great time that your daughters have joined us too. So let us go ahead and welcome
Okay.
them. I do see Binita Barai and Sujata Barai too. So I'm going to add them.
Okay.
Namaste. Hello. How are
Hi.
you, Binita?
Unmuting.
Let,
You're very well. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
oh, it's a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. And namaste, Sujata ji. Thank you so much for
Hi, hello, how
joining.
are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Great, great, thank you.
And
That's
that's my younger granddaughter from Sujata,
Yep.
Shefali.
Hi, Shefali.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. How old are you, sweetie?
I'm 8.
8. Wow. So I think I will have to ask you first about your nanny. So tell us something about your nanny.
My nanny's very kind and helps us with anything we need help with. She's also a great woman and she's an awesome doctor and I really love her.
What do you like to do with her? Let's pick someone.
I like to sew with her because she's really great at it and she sewed me a shirt.
Oh, wow. That is multi-talent right there. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Shifali.
You're welcome.
That was so sweet. That I mean, coming from granddaughter's mouth, that is really special for us to hear as well. That's amazing. So let me take a quick moment to introduce your daughters to our audience here. Sujata Baraichug is a lawyer and she's a mother of 3 active children, 11 to 8 years, and her husband is a busy cardiologist. So thank you, Sujata, for joining. I mean, you are so busy, but still you took some time. That is amazing.
Of
Thank you so
course. Yep.
much. And Binita Barai, we have Binita Barai here. She was previously an engineer. She studied architecture and now owns her own design firm. She's married and has 2 young children. Welcome, Binita.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you all here. And so, without further ado, I would like to ask you, let's start with Binita. So, please do share some experiences. We were just talking to Dr. Panna to understand how she balanced her busy life as a gynecologist and a mom of 4, actually. So, how did she do that? What experiences did you have? What memories, if you'd like
Yeah.
to share any?
Yeah. First of all, let me say I'm impressed because I feel like my mom still has more energy than we do, and I am barely keeping up with 2 kids. So I cannot imagine being an OB-GYN and keeping up with 4 kids. But I think some of my favorite memories are, I heard my mom on the tail end saying that we would be excited when she would come home and ask about the babies. But some of my favorite memories are actually sometimes when she would get called in the middle of the night, and if we were sleeping in their room and we were acting very attached, she would take us to the hospital with her. And at that time, that was a very different time, but we would be able to go to the nursery, stay with the nurses and play with the babies, or not play with them, but look at the babies and get a little bit closer than you would ever be able to get today. So that was one of my favorite times, actually. It was a special time with mom, going to and from the hospital. And at the time getting, I love children, and even from a young age, getting to see the babies, and the nurses would spoil us. So that was one of my favorite memories, and a great way to integrate, the special time with mom while her also helping her patients. And then I also remember, and this is something, again, I would aspire to do with my kids, and I can't figure out how to find that time or energy, but I remember that she would always come to our schools individually, all four of us, and she would come to our schools and take us out for lunch instead of us having lunch at school. So she would take me individually out for one-on-one time. We would go to lunch, we would have bonding time, and then she would drop us back off in time, for class to continue. But I still have actual vivid memories of like the actual lunches and where we would go and things we would talk about. That stuck with me. And maybe it's because, in 4, it was so important for each of us to have that one-on-one time with her. And somehow miraculously, she found a way to do it.
That is what is amazing about mothers. Somehow they do it, but when we become mothers, we find it hard to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, I can totally relate, because both my parents are university professors. So when I was growing up, I used to be at their work quite a bit. So what you were saying, just I could relate to it. But of course, yours is a much different experience because you could get to play with babies. I had to read books.
Which is also amazing. Yeah. And, I just want to also add one thing that I think is so special is that those memories are ongoing. I mean, I feel like still now when anything happens in life for all of us, she's the first one we call. Maybe don't tell our spouses that, but I feel like she's the first phone call still goes to her. Anything good, bad,
Correct.
sad, great, it's first call goes to mom. So
Yep. That's so nice to hear from you. And so Dr. Panna would have to share more secrets so we can all become better moms now. How she did it. So now moving on to Sujata. Sujata, how did your mom's career influence you? So how do you think that played a role in you becoming a lawyer, you getting educated, wanting to pursue a career? If you don't mind sharing a few of your thoughts there.
Sure. And also we have one more granddaughter joining.
Oh,
Her
hi.
oldest grandchild. Named Avani.
Hi. Did you say Avani?
Yep.
Oh, look at that. My daughter's name is Avani too.
Oh, wow. It's not
Hi, Avani. How are you?
Good.
Good. Would you like to add something about your Nani? We heard quite a bit from Shifali, but we would love to hear from you too.
She does really good foot massages.
Special treatment for grandchildren, looks like.
Yeah.
That's good. Anything else you would like to add?
She gives us Lucky Charms for breakfast every time we get there.
All sweet moments. That's wonderful. That is one thing that I think a woman's role as a mother never ends. Even when your kids grow up, you have your grandkids, and even when your grandkids grow up or they're not grandchildren are not around, you still have that motherly instinct. So you still help somebody do something nice. So that's so nice to hear. Thank you so much for sharing, Avani.
No problem.
Wonderful. So, Sujata, if you would like to take a few moments to tell us more about your mother, and if you could tell how that influenced you, that'll be great.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'd be happy to. Yeah. I became an attorney and not a physician, so maybe it wasn't that direct translation. But even to this day, Mom will. And even though she's retired, we'll talk about how much her professional identity meant to her and the satisfaction that she got from it. So sometimes while it was invisible or behind the scenes, or times when, she was obviously not at work and at home, and I don't think I realized that when I was younger. It's actually only in the more recent years, and maybe even since her retirement, when I think she's been missing it, somewhat, even though she stays so busy without it. The fact that she's been missing it has helped me understand what not just the achievement, but the professional satisfaction of kind of practicing your craft and working with others and serving others, how much it can mean. It's something that I'm still identifying with. I think I've been through different phases in my career, including stopping my career for some time when the kids were very young, which is actually not something that she really did. And so I reflect on that a lot in terms of how much that achievement and professional satisfaction can mean for one's identity. I think it's something that I think about a lot in relation to her and what that means for me, because it's important. Even when you lose sight of it, you still recognize that it's very important.
Yep.
And it's central, and it can
Right.
get lost, right, in the family sort of the busyness and the demands and
Right.
all the other priorities. But I guess mom has actually taught me that it's really, really important.
And can I just jump in for 1 second without
Please,
taking over
please
the mic
do.
again? But
Please
one
do.
thing I always remember, she always told us when we'd ask, it wasn't just about being a doctor, but she very intentionally chose her specialty. And she would always tell us since we were young that my dream was always to help women. And that's why I chose this specialty within medicine. And I think that also impacted all of us, maybe in our own ways, but those words have always stayed, I think, with all three of us.
That's great. That's great to hear. And we welcome Nikita Barai too to our conversation. Hello, Nikita. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you? I wouldn't miss it.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Nikita is Dr. Panna Barai's third daughter, and we are so excited to have all of you on our program today.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you for joining,
having us
Nikita.
and for
It's a
featuring
pleasure.
our
It's
amazing mom.
Oh yes, I know, I know. I mean, we are totally in love with your mom. She's amazing. She's an awesome lady. So here is what happened. So we invited your father, Dr. Bharat Barai, for our very first inaugural episode of Vijaya Patha, and I very skeptically asked if Dr. Panna would be available to join. It was so nice of her and Dr. Bharat for taking our request and having her as well on the show. And the moment she started, we could tell how much she's accomplished. And Dr. Bharat Barai, your father seems to be so proud of her too. So, we had to ask her to come for our Women's Day special on the show. We just wanted to have her here. So we are honored to have her with us. And thank you so much for all three of you for making time to talk to us about her. That was great. So let me quickly introduce Nikita to our audience here. Nikita is an internist and pediatrician and mother of two very young daughters. So Nikita, welcome to our program. And if you would like to say a little bit about Dr. Panna, and also looks like you have chosen her path is in medical field. So if there's anything you would like to add there.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. It's like when you're growing up, I think you don't quite appreciate the impact that your mom is making on you. But like to this day, right, when I have almost every day, right, I feel like I can't do something that I'm supposed to do. And I literally find myself pausing and thinking like, okay, what would my mom do? Right? How would she figure this out? And then I like find the path forward. And it's amazing, right? She has 4 kids. She has 4 kids by marriage. She has 7 grandkids. And I feel like she still just holds all of us up on her shoulders. It's exactly what Beanie said, right? She's the first person we call for anything. I still talk to her every single day. And when I had my 2 daughters, I think I was really struggling with the decision of like, do I go back to work? Do I take a pause? Right, to really be present for them. It can be hard in medicine when you're working a lot of hours. And it was my mom who, I think really reminded me that it's an important part of my personal identity to maintain my profession and really help me navigate, right, how to be a completely present mom, but still keep advancing my career and providing care for the patients who are so important to me. And so she's an inspiration to me, to all of us, certainly to my daughters. And I think I hope one day my daughters will feel about me the way that all of us do about her.
I mean, all of you are, the way they say in India, mother's chavi, So you are her reflection. So I'm sure you have all got some very unique qualities from her. And of course, as you said, just thinking about how she handles certain situations gives us all strength, right? As how, just thinking about it when we are having a challenging. Now I have started missing my mother. I'll have to call her in India now after the program. Very nice. Lovely to hear about all of your, thoughts about mother, about Dr. Panna, and how she influenced your individual decisions. And also, is there anything specific that you are trying to teach your children that came directly from Dr. Panna? Anybody can take this question.
How to maintain strength and compassion simultaneously.
That's great.
Yeah.
Don't
Anything
take
else
no for
you
an
would?
answer.
That's a good one. That's important. That's important for women, I think,
Literally.
especially.
Yeah.
That's good. So, Sujata, we heard that you were in India the first couple years when mom was trying hard to get things done
Yeah.
here, settle down with her career. So that phase you probably don't remember much, do you?
No,
Yes.
I don't.
So, but however, I did hear that all of you got an opportunity to continue the relationship and bonding with your grandparents. So, would you like to add anything about how that influenced your life, and what are the special memories that you think of when you think of Indian heritage, your roots, and your family bonding, especially being here in America, being raised here?
Well, I don't remember anything from those early years. I hear stories, certainly, and there are a very small handful of photos. But I believe it has did result in a very close bond with my grandparents who really raised me those couple of years. And I know that my mom had an experience later in life, during high school, where she moved with her grandparents, and they raised her. So there's that commonality of grandparents having a significant influence, sort of on daily life for a certain period of time. But I guess what I do remember are the times that came a bit later, spending many summers in India during school breaks, the US school breaks, which were our summers, spending them there with cousins, and going for significant periods of time in the summer, really spending the whole summer there with cousins. And I still, with my husband Atul, with the kids, I still talk about it today, right? When the monsoon would come and we would run around, and we would, just all that. We had a lot of freedom there that I think kids here, it's just a different lifestyle. They're not quite afforded the same freedom. But I certainly have those memories of a different pace of life, a different sense of family, and society. Kind of being out and about and knowing that it was fine. And that sense of a bit more freedom and adventure, honestly, when during those summers in India. So I think that probably the roots of all of that are maybe from that early time that I spent there, and kind of more unconscious than a conscious memory. But I think it's all linked.
That's great. I mean, it looks like you have some vivid memories of your holidays in India too. So
Yeah.
yep, that's good. So, how important is it for? So, this question, either of you can take it. So, how important is it for you to raise your children now with an Indian connection? Are you putting efforts for that, or are you saying, "Hey, they are, growing up in America. Let them adopt or adapt to the environment that they are in." Um, if you'd like to share a few of your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think it's a mix. We definitely have more, in some ways, more kind of formal resources at our disposal. We have an online Gujarati class that we attend. We've stopped for the last couple of months, but we're going to restart, and things like that. But I think what we're missing are some of those informal resources that were actually probably most important, right? Living in the joint family where your grandparents are living with you. One of the reasons that we moved to the place that we're in now is because it did have a bigger Indian population that's second generation, so that our kids could have more of that than the place we were living in recently, but prior to that. So we are definitely trying, but it's a challenge when it's not all just in the home in the same way like it was for us growing up and like it is in India.
Right, right. I think we lost Nikita. Maybe she'll be back. But maybe, Binita, if you could take this next question. Oh, there she is. Welcome back, Nikita. I think we had lost you for a little bit there. So, how was it growing up in that Indian environment here? Did you face any specific challenges, or looking back now, do you think the way you were raised here worked best for you? And what are the specific advantages that you have now, having an exposure to multicultures?
Yeah. Yes, we were raised with a lot of culture, and I am so grateful for that now. I will say that maybe when we were growing up, or I'll speak for myself, I think sometimes it seemed like it was presenting challenges, but now as I'm older, and as I'm also trying to instill this culture in my sons and trying to figure out, what the best way to do it is, because my husband and I, we're both Indian, but we speak different languages from India, or have a different background. He's South Indian and I'm Gujarati. I think now I realize more that the challenges didn't come from what our parents did. The problem wasn't them trying to instill the culture in us. The problem was maybe some of the communities surrounding us were not always ready to receive that or honor it or be interested in it. I think the times have changed in America. I think that it's a different country now. I think that there's a different level of awareness and respect for minority cultures. And I'm so grateful for that. But I now looking back, even though at times it may have felt challenging trying to navigate between the two identities, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so grateful that they stood firm on that, and they stood firm on the pride of the Indian culture and what they wanted to pass down of our family values, even if we were doing things a little bit differently from other children around us. And now that's exactly what we're trying to do. So while I always thought as a kid that I'm never going to do that to my kids and I'm just going to let them be as American as they want, now we're realizing that what, our culture and our identity is just as American as anybody else's. And now we're trying to figure out how we can emulate what our parents did. And it's a little bit harder for us as the second generation here, but I think we're all trying to figure out how we can make that happen. So I'm just so grateful for that, no matter how challenging it may have felt at the time. It was the right thing to do.
Wonderful. Very nice to hear that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your insights on that. That's such an important topic. So although this is a Women's Day special, just having all of you here, I started thinking about these interesting points to ask you. So thank you so much for sharing your insights. Nikita, I would like to ask you one question. So this is Women's Day special episode. So is there anything specific that you have got from your mother that you would like to say? Just like you said before, one of you said before, never to give up, right? So anything specific that you would like to give as a Women's Day message today that you learned directly from your mother? Or from her life, just observing her.
You can be that you can be tough and resilient and still be loving and kind to the world around you. That it doesn't have to be kind of either or. That you can embody all of those things.
Wonderful,
and
wonderful. Would you like?
Right, your life is you can make anything you want.
Right. So how old are your daughters, Nikita, if you don't mind me asking?
My older one is 2.5 and my younger one is 14 months.
Wow. And you are managing your profession along with the daughters now?
Yes, mostly. I think so.
That's wonderful. Yes, you have a great role model right there. So I'm sure you're as tough as her. So that's good. Best wishes to you. And I would like to ask the same question to Sujata and Binita too. As a parting question, is there any message that you would like to give women from the inspiration that you've received from Dr. Panna Barai?
I really agree with what Nikki said. I think that's a great synopsis. Right?
Perfect. Perfect. Anything else to add, Binita?
Yeah, I think that she has taught us to define ourselves and not let other people define us. So I know right now because our vice president is Kamala Harris, and the quote has become famous from her mother, Shyamala Gopalan. But I think our mom was also teaching us that since we were kids, as you people know who you are, let them tell you who you are. And as Nikki said, you don't take no for an answer, but you define yourself. And with that comes not only a strength in defining yourself, but also comes a responsibility, right? It's a privilege to define yourself, but it's also a responsibility that then you make choices and you take responsibility for your choices. So make them carefully.
Yep. Agree. Thank you so much. All these insights that you shared today is not just about, us knowing more about Dr. Panna Barai, but also about how Dr. Panna's life inspires rest of us, all the younger women around her, and not only her daughters, but through her daughters, all rest of us, the audience, and myself personally, we are feeling inspired. Did you have anything to add, Benita?
I just want to add one thing that has also inspired me that anyone I talk to, I feel like it comes up when we talk about sibling and family relationships and we talk about the family values. I think one source of great inspiration for me has been the relationship that our mother has maintained with her siblings and family. So she has been a mother to the four of us, but she has also been a mother / big sister to all of her siblings and her cousins. And she has remained so close to them and takes care of them to this day. And I mean, I feel like sometimes she talks to them every day or every other day, even to this point. And, one sister and brother are in India and one is in California. And she maybe talks to her siblings more than even my siblings and I are able to talk to each other. Perhaps right now we have young kids, but that has really set a really special model for what a family can and maybe should look like, and what you can maintain with your siblings, and the power of that love and the power of that family. And I think that's something that, at least for us, I feel it is really unique how close they truly remain. There's a different type of trust and love there that has set a great example for us.
That's wonderful. As they say, a mother is the link between everybody else in the family. So looks like this link extended beyond your close family of 6, right? So that's very inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing all your stories. Before you leave, if there is anything else you would like to add, you're welcome to add. But we are truly honored to have not just one, but 4 inspiring women on today's episode with us.
Well, I'm just so happy you're doing this program and honoring women, and thank you for doing that on behalf of us and all women everywhere. So
Thank you.
yeah, what a great example you're setting as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Benita. Appreciate you saying that. It really is very touching to me. And, we would like to have more inspiring women come to the forefront. Women are usually working very hard, but they are not the ones who want a spotlight most of the time. They are keeping everything going, but, they are not the ones who want to be in the forefront or just get the spotlight. So we do like to do this. And we are honored that your mother, Dr. Panna Barai, accepted our invitation to be here. And also, we are honored that all 3 of you could join and share your personal, feelings and experiences. So thank you once again. I hope we can all meet up again, maybe virtually, maybe in person sometime. So appreciate you joining today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Best wishes to each of you and your family.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Same to you.
Yep. Bye. Dr. Panna, amazing. It was amazing to talk to your daughters, to hear about their stories, to hear about how your life's journey, your career, and your qualities, inspired them. So would you like to add anything to what your daughters mentioned? I'm sure you were thinking about things and, while listening to them, how did you feel?
I felt very proud of them. And I also keep telling when we are discussing amongst our friends and all that, don't worry, whatever you teach them when they are younger always comes back in life, even though they might be resisting, fighting with you, arguing with you, which is fine. It is good for them to do that because that's how they develop their own thinking. But I have seen in all four my children, I have a youngest son also, but today I did not let him know because it was Women's Day, and I said, let all women be there. Uh, but all of them have shown me and given me confidence that root is the family and home, and whatever you teach them at home always comes back. It goes deep in their brain. So we need to be role model as parents, and rest of the things do sit in place.
That those words are very meaningful, very touching. I'm sure you had your challenges while raising the family, and if there was one thing that you could think of that got you through those tough times, having a spouse, very supporting spouse helps. Having a supportive family helps. Seeing children, just children, just watching them, that is inspirational too to us many times as women, as mothers.
Yeah.
But beyond that, when there were times were going tough, what was one thing that told you inside that kept you going? Was it a philosophical connection? Was it a spiritual connection? Or was it anything else? Maybe your mother, maybe something else, if you would like to share with us.
Well, you said it right, that philosophical connections, spiritual connections, emotional connections, that all is fine. But there were enough challenges raising them. Sometimes, them not coming back from school. Oh my God, what happened to them? Sometimes not responding to your phone calls. Oh my God, what happened to them? And those scares, all those things are there, but we have to be patient. And I always trusted them. And I always told them that, look, kids, I trust you. Only thing I do not trust rest of the world for you. So that is why you have to be careful. You have to keep up with your times, and you have to do your things in a right way. Only because of that reason. But there were not a single moment where I felt that I am not trusting them. Never, ever.
Yep.
And they have lived up to my trust.
That's wonderful to know. I mean, that is a message that is very vital for all of us to learn. I think in today's world, especially those of us who are living here in the US, without many, family members who are close to us, and kids getting their driver's license when they are still so young, that
Yes,
scares me. Even when I think about it. So
I
every small
agree.
step, every small step is just
Right.
quite nerve-wracking for
Right,
mother.
right. And it was
Right.
very nerve-wracking when they want to come late from their
Yes.
friend's house. And I say, "Well, I know you are not doing anything. I
Correct.
know you are fine. I know I trust you fully. But how would I trust somebody who is driving and who is drunk?"
Yep. Yeah. That's so right. That
And
is
they understood, but they had their moments because they want to do things that is in their mind, which is fine. And that's how they get stronger. They learn. It's okay.
correct. And then above all, there is God, and our faith in God
Yes.
that keeps us going.
That is always there, and that always keeps us strong and keeps
Right.
us growing.
Right. Because as a woman, it is not easy being a mother, having little ones to worry about, and even when they grow up, just trying to deal with our day-to-day challenges at work while thinking about the children, because they are always in the back of our mind. Doesn't matter which role we go to in our careers, children are always primary in our
Always there
mind.
in the back.
Yes. So
Definitely.
Right, right. So, was there any point of time that you thought you should quit your job and stay with your kids, or did you just keep going?
I would say that yes, I had those thoughts, but on one day in my life, actually two occasions in my life that I truly felt, and I'll narrate those to you. One day I took Binita for a swimming lesson, and I got a call that you have to come to labor room right now. She was in water, and as a child, she would cry and resist that, no, I'm not going to come out. No, I'm not going to come out from water. What do I do? Of course, I had to pull her out. Of course, I had to take her with all wet and dripping hair and just put her in the car and took her to labor and delivery room. But then on that day, I really had tears in my eyes that, do I really want to do it? But then I said, there are other mothers who really need help also. And it is only one occasion out of whole life, and I need to help people. So that, fine, it went on. Then on the day my daughter Sujata was 14 years old, it was her birthday. And on that day, I got a patient from nowhere. Of course, so she was not registered or anything in my office, just walked in. She was 14-year-old. She was pregnant. She was full term. Her mother did not know that she is pregnant, and she was in labor. Think about that shock.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
that really gave tears in my eyes that, oh my God,
Right.
raising children here is this bad. And of course, no father, not to be found.
Right.
So that was very shocking, and very shocking for Indian culture. I delivered her, beautiful, beautiful baby, weighing 9 pounds.
Wow.
We all struggle, how big is the baby? But this, she was lucky to have a 9-pound baby.
Right.
And I came home. It was Sujata's birthday, but still I could not resist describing her that now you know why I'm worried about all of you. At that time, probably she thought that what is this garbage mom is talking? But I am sure now, having 2 daughters, she realizes what I was talking about.
Right, right. Yes, I agree. I mean, I don't know how you face those situations. Definitely very tough situations to be in, but you pulled it through and you continued with your career. Kudos to you again. I mean, it is not easy being in that situation, just being torn apart, and you were able to manage that and overcome those feelings, still be able to continue helping other women. This is all wonderful, very inspiring for all of us to hear. Um, and so, Dr. Barai, let us move a little bit, switch gears to your profession. I would like to hear what do you think? Just now, you gave an example of a young girl pregnant at around 14 years with no family support. So, in general, over the years that you've seen women as your patients, what are some of the biggest challenges do you think women face in today's world? If you would like to share a few.
I think biggest challenge children face is most of, I wouldn't say most, that's wrong. Many children are out of wedlock. So there are no strong family values right from the day one. There is no two parents to take care of them. If one is not available, other one is there. Of course, love of a mother is love of a mother, and that will never be less for their children. But mother being alone also faces a lot of challenges. Children have to do a lot of things alone on their own because mother alone cannot provide everything. So To me, it feels like that from day one, children are facing very weak moral strength in their heart, which is very, very important, Vijaya, to have morally strong.
Right.
And uh, here, many children are facing, I'm not saying all of them, there are many, many, many families who are strong, but I have seen enough. And with my practice, I was known to take care of the younger girls, younger patients quite a bit, and they would come and talk to me. Their medical problems, but their medical problems may not be as serious, but more of their social problems. And they just want someone to hear them, someone to guide them. And I feel that if it was a family who was guiding them, for most part, they would not feel as lost.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, that is a very real problem, real challenge, I think, here, especially in the US. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. And when you talk about instilling moral qualities, so when we are raising our family here in the United States of America, far from our homeland of India, what is the best way to instill those more because moral values in the children? Because mainly children do not get the same atmosphere or environment as
I
we
agree.
grew up in India. So it is such a contrast, such a conflict, anything that we try to convey or communicate. So, if there is one or two things that you would like to share that may help women and mothers deal with their face to day-to-day challenges of especially raising a young family here.
I feel that first thing should start from home. Relations between you and your husband and your family members is very, very important. They watch that. And if they have seen a very happy and closely knit family, they are going to expect that for their life when they grow up. Second thing, I know all children initially are resisting, but to have a base of Vedantic studies to expose them to that is also very important, because I feel, and I'm not talking about religious studies and just doing bhajans and all that. I'm talking about a real Vedantic studies, and real strong example is Chinmaya Mission. They really do excellent job to expose them to those kind of studies. It that just one thing gives them really enough moral support deep in their heart, and they would not feel lost. They would know how to fight it.
That is a very great input for us. I think I agree with what you say. Exposing the children to those philosophies, those values through an established path is probably the best option for parents here when we are raising our family here in America. So thank you so much for that insight. Looks like that helped you with your children as well when they were
Yes.
growing up. That's wonderful. And as we saw today, all three of your daughters are amazing. We could tell how much they are connected to their roots, and at the same time how far ahead they will go in their careers, and as mothers how great they will do having you as a role model and just getting all those right values. So appreciate you bringing them on the show as well today to share all of your insights. And just one question related to something a little different, as we have seen Dr. Panna Barai's various talents and different amazing qualities. There is another thing that we would would like to share with our audience, it is wonderful to know that Dr. Panna Barai has a passion for architecture. So, could you please tell us a little bit more about the India cultural and Hindu temple? We heard that you oversaw the construction of that, and actually the temple, I believe, was awarded the best architectural structure by Northwest Indiana Chamber of Commerce. So how did this all start? This is very different from your profession of medical field, and please do, if you don't mind, share a little bit about that.
Vijaya, right from the beginning, I always had interest for some reason, and I couldn't even explain, but in the architect and in the construction and more in the detailing. I think that is what I like, detailing of everything. If I look at the picture or if I buy a painting, I like the detailing in it. I may not know the history, but if somebody has done it with a lot of details and some meaning to it, I appreciate that so much more. So in the same way, like when we build our house, I was the one who made the plans ready architecturally. I was the one who put all the details in it and all that. And same way I did with our Hindu Religious Center of Northwest Indiana, that collectively we decided that we want a hall and we need, our community needs a temple here. So I took the leadership and took every step and looked at every detail, how it should go for the temple as well as for the construction of the hall. I just love to do that. That's my hobby. For any kind of plan, I would love to do that.
And somehow you could still manage to take the time for it.
Yes, that I would find the time to manage it, even though I was full-time practicing while it was going on, but still even at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock night while coming back from the office, I have to stop by at the construction site. I have to talk to the people who are working there and make sure that things are done right. So morning before going to work, afternoon, evening after coming back from work, I always stop by, and I love to do it.
That's great. They
Right.
say that when somebody is passionate about something, you just
Yeah.
somehow find time for it, somehow find the bandwidth for it. But here
Yeah.
you are, Dr. Panna, you are passionate about multiple things and you are able to do multiple things. You're carrying on every role so successfully. So once again, we congratulate you on all your wonderful accomplishments. We feel so honored that you could take time to be with us today. And just hearing everything from you and from your daughters and even your granddaughters, it was wonderful. That was so nice of them to join as well. So we were able to see different aspects of your life, Dr. Panna. So as a parting question, if I would ask you, how do you define life? What do you think is your biggest victory in life? What would you like to say to our audience?
Well, biggest victory I feel, of course, helping women socially, medically, in needs was most satisfying. Learning to jiggle around the time that God has given you and achieving everything what you want to achieve is another thing that I learned from my life. When you were asking about the role model, I have to add Bharat's maternal auntie, Mami. She was a great inspiration, of course, after we got married, not in the young age when you asked. She'll say, Panna, you can do anything. Don't be afraid of things. You can do it. And I just feel she's right, that yes, you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. And if you want to do it, you will find time. And everyone has a talent. They just have to work at it. No woman in the world should feel that they have no talent or they can't do it or how would they do it. They have talents. Women are intelligent. and no one should feel that they should be left behind.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. I agree. I do feel that each of us has been put on this earth with a purpose. All of us, we just have to find our purpose here and do what we can do the best to the best possible extent to till the very last. And both Dr. Bharat and you, Dr. Panna, are really very inspirational to us. We do see that at this time in life, many of them would like to have a retired, happy, relaxing life, but both of you are still very active in the community. You are continuing with your professional life as well as, dedicating time for your personal life, for your family as well as for the community. So we really appreciate the time that you have taken to come here and inspire us with by sharing all these insights about your life. And just by reading your profile, we felt so inspired, and just having you here was an additional, like it was like the icing on the cake for us. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you. But
thank
while departing, I want to
yes,
remind
please.
all women one more thing,
Sure.
that that strength in the women is not just for today. Think about all our goddesses, Goddess Durga, Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess Saraswati, and many, many others. How strong they were. They had all the strength. They have given us all the strength, and we must follow that.
That is so right. I mean, just finding those that strength within us, and allowing ourselves to come to the forefront, ignoring all the challenges and all the negative thoughts that we are getting in our mind, the doubts that we have. I think that is very important for women, just to follow your heart, find the strength within you, because as you said, we all have it. We just have to believe in ourselves, and we have to
Exactly.
go forward. So
Agree.
thank you so much, Dr. Panna. Your words are really very, very touching, very inspirational to us. We appreciate you sharing everything candidly, and we enjoyed this program so much with you. We would like to continue our conversation with you and on different occasions. Once again, wholehearted thank you to you and everybody in your family. Please do convey our regards to Dr. Bharat Barai as well. And thank you to all of you for coming on our program today, especially today on Women's Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Back to you, our viewers. I hope you found our program inspirational, informational, and educational. So, we do look forward to hosting more exceptional guests like Dr. Panna Barai and Dr. Bharat Barai in the coming days, in the coming months. We have many wonderful guests that we are inviting to our programs. So, please do stay tuned. Do not forget to like Bharat FM on Facebook. We have our YouTube channel as well. And if you have any specific requests, please do send an email to us at info@bharatfm.com, and you can add our program name there in the subject line or RJ name, and we will be honoring your request. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Until then, take care, stay safe, stay happy. Namaste.